welcome คุณกอบการวัฒนวรางกูล big applause เรียนเชิญท่านกอบการวัฒนวรางกูลนะคะฉันสวัสดีค่ะดีใจมากๆเลยได้เจอท่านวันนี้นะคะเห็นแต่ VTR นะคะวันนี้ alright glad to see you for all distinguished panelists here the second panelist who is joined Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand welcome a big applause Mrs. Rebecca Liz Chan Liawak the floor is yours Ms. Liawak please and the next panelist who is Director of International Corporate Affairs at Charan Pokapan Foods or CPF welcome Mr. Lester Koo welcome sir and of course our lovely and outstanding moderator I'd like to invite Principal Creative Consultant Sapience Solutions welcome คุณสิริคเนศสกุลยง Thank you very much for the great participant and the great session for the first session for day 6 of SS and I give the floor to the moderator please the floor is yours
Hello. Hi, good morning everybody and welcome to our very first session at the Sustainable Expo. I think before we begin, we would like to invite Kun Gopgan to give us a bit of an introduction to the topic we're talking about today, which is the sufficiency economy philosophy.
Well, thank you, Mu Wan. Why sufficiency economy? What is the goal in doing business? What is the goal in your life? This is not something that we have to do, but this is something we believe in it. Chamber of Commerce, Thai Chamber of Commerce, starting from Dr. Tawlanon, when he was the president of Thai Chamber, maybe about 24, 25 years ago. He said that this theory, the philosophy of sufficiency economy, given to us by King Rama IX, it's a blessing to all the Thais. It's a blessing because it's for everyone. It's not only for the big people, medium people, small people, but it's for everyone living in Thailand. And that's why we have the stage today. When I ask you what is the goal in doing business, in the beginning people might say, I want to be number one in the market. I want to be rich. I want to make a lot of profit. But I think later on, I think the answer will change. You want to grow with sustainability. Lasting long is very important. And we believe that by applying this philosophy of sufficiency economy, it's like giving us the consciousness in Thailand called sati, the checklist, what we should do in any business. For example, starting with moderation in Thai is like pramanton. Do you know yourself? This is just very simple. And most of the people will say, definitely I know myself, I know my business and whatnot, but actually you don't really know. And that is why this philosophy is important for you to recheck yourself, to rethink again whether you are doing it the right way or not. And as people say, if you fasten the first button wrong, everything will not going to help you to reach the target. And that is why I think the Chamber of Commerce, I'm the head of the Committee of Sufficiency Economy starting from Dr. Tawlanon. So certain years already, we want everyone to start by fastening the right button and do it the right way. And at the end of the day, we want the business to be in the hand of every one of you in every places in Thailand. Thank you.
ขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะ So that's a very brief introduction to what is sufficiency economy and why it is relevant to how you conduct yourself in business today. So it's not just a concept that's applicable to farmers like what people may perceive. And it's a concept that takes half a lifetime to fully learn, really. But luckily today we have two individuals who are from a different country that moved to Thailand, live in Thailand, and have learned to adopt the SEP or sufficiency economy philosophy. So I would love to give the stage to both of you and perhaps give us a brief round of introduction in terms of who you are, where you're from, and what you're currently doing in Thailand.
Thank you very much, Moan, and thank you, Dr. Kopkan, for inviting me to this session. So just very short, my name is Vibeke. I've been in Thailand for 35 years. Originally, I'm from Norway, a small town called Os. I'm married with, my husband is sitting in the audience, so I have the moral support here today. And I have twins, 16-year-old, they're born in Thailand. So when we ask where they are from, they will say, Daddy is from Italy, Mommy is from Norway, and we are Thai. So they are Thai in their heart, in their action. I'm also the Vice President of the Thai-Norwegian Chamber of Commerce in Thailand. I am the chairwoman, presently the chairwoman of the Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, representing 32 chambers, and an advisor to Board of Trade, where I'm very fortunate to sit on the committee of Dr. Kopkan. My passions is creativity. I am an entrepreneur, which I didn't say now. I am an entrepreneur. I started my company for 30 years ago. I have my Pearl anniversary coming. And I'm very passionate about creativity, but also education for all and inclusion of all. Equal opportunities is something we need to have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Very happy to have you here on stage with us. Next up, Mr. Lester. Would love to hear a little bit about you.
Some just...
Could we switch the slide?
Very good morning. My name is Lester Koo, and from my accent you can tell that actually I'm from New Zealand. I have lived in Thailand actually 2 times. The first time was from about 2003 to about 2012, and then my second stint was from 2021 to now, and I'm here permanently. In terms of my family, if I can just try to show you a slide, if we can get the slide to move. I have, maybe I'll try another. I have, my wife is Kun Thai, working. So I'll just show you a very brief picture you can see in the top here. My wife is Kun Thai, and Kun Bong, she lives a very good exemplary life of self-sufficiency in the sense that she has her own pottery business. So I'm just very lucky to be in Thailand. I see myself as being a guest, but a permanent guest of Thailand. And so my wife, her dream since she was young was to own a pottery store, not to make money. And I think if you look in terms of the late King Bhumibol, the great Adulidesh, King Rama IX's vision in terms of moderation and peace, which equates to excellence. I think this is something that certainly Kun Bong strives to do. In terms of our 2 children, our oldest one is in the UK working as an investment banker. But again, I think in his life, isn't just about making money, but it's about doing good in areas of renewable energy. And the youngest one, Charlotte, she loves to protect the coral reefs in the Andaman Sea. She has an NGO called Coral for Peace, and she tries to restore the coral reefs. And for myself, I'm very lucky to work for one of the largest companies in not just in Thailand, but in Southeast Asia. But I see this as a temporary sense, in the sense that I'm only a guardian looking after this position. So, you know, I think the key thing is have a low ego and do the best you can in moderation and be thankful every day. I wake up very early every morning, usually about 4:30 in the morning, and exercise. And when I exercise, I will listen to Buddhist chants. Even though I cannot understand, it gives me a sense of peace, tranquility before I start a very busy day. So I hope that gives you a very quick overview of just our family. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I think it is a rare opportunity to get to hear the story of foreigners that have settled so deeply into the Thai culture. Because I think everyone knows that Thailand is quite a destination for people to visit. But having to choose to live here and take roots here, I think that's quite heartwarming to hear both of your stories. Before we actually dig into how you apply sufficiency economy philosophy in your daily life or in your business practices, I actually want to take a few steps back and ask about where you're from, both countries of your origin, and if there's a similar concept to moderation that exists there, and how is it different or similar to what we have here in Thailand?
Could I ask to have my slides back? We're going to do a little bit of back and forth between the slides here, but I'd like to show something visual. I come from a very small town in Norway. When I grew up, there was 5,000 inhabitants. I'm a daughter of a truck driver and a secretary, and we lived a very modest life. Both my parents had to work, and I grew up with my grandmother. This is very similar to what we have in Thailand. So coming from Norway to Thailand, let's say population was a teeny bit more. We went from 5,000 to 8-10 million in Bangkok. But still, I find a lot of similarities. And one of the things when I was asked to talk about similarities in sufficiency economy philosophy, I found two pictures. One is of the late King Bhumibol Rama IX, and the other one is of the late King Olav V. They had very similar philosophies. They were the kings of the people. And I think this is something that has marked me. The first time I met, well, actually I met him only one time, but King Olav came to my small little town. I was 13 years old, and I remember I was running from home to make sure that I was, in front of the queue to maybe be able to have him see me. But he saw everybody. And I think this is one thing that we can say also with King Bhumibol. He saw everybody. Sufficiency economy philosophy is about life balance, family values. It's about seeing yourself. So in the picture here, I've shown a few pictures, so I'll explain them. You see my family, and you see my daughters, where we have chosen one project that is dear to our heart. It's Kids Action for Kids, which help cleft palate children. But not only do we do that, we also have my mother, who you see in the picture. So we've done this from Thailand, via Myanmar, where we used to do surgeries, and where my mom is working on this in Norway. So it's a family connection where it's about giving back, but it's also about giving opportunity, because it's not charity to me. To me, it's giving an opportunity to a smile, and it's giving an opportunity for an education. We also support a Thai Muslim Women Foundation, which is very close to my children's school, and we've done that since they were born. Why did we choose that place? Well, we would like to focus on education. We would like to focus on an area that is close to our home, and I think this is important. We can all choose our own projects where we support, and I think that's part of a family value and life balance. Personally, I think through life you change. Values I had when I was young are a little bit different than the values that I have today, and I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Of course, thank you so much. What a picture you just showed. I actually never realized, looking at our king's picture as he interact with his people, us Thais, that there's nothing to indicate that he was a king. There was no crown, there was no fancy clothing, but because we recognized his face, immediately we knew who he was in the picture. When you showed a picture of your king, I couldn't even tell. And I think that's a very visual display of what it means to be the king of the people. That was a beautiful comparison, so thank you very much for that.
Can I just add one little thing? The picture of the king that I showed is actually when we had oil crisis. Norway is a country of oil, and there was oil crisis. So the king said, I am not going to use my car because that means that I'm using the oil that we are in shortage of. So he took the tram. And I think this is what we saw, we can all learn from. We are going through difficult times now. We are going through challenges. And the way that we get through those challenges is working together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, to you, Mr. Lester, see if you have any similar concepts from New Zealand.
Thank you. In New Zealand, there is in the indigenous Māori culture something called utu. It's a Māori word and it has two meanings. One meaning is like revenge, another one's called equilibrium or balance. So I think the similarity, particularly with the indigenous culture of New Zealand, the indigenous Māori people, they call it an equilibrium. So when something has been done wrong, then there needs to be a rebalance. So if you look in the modern times in the New Zealand justice system, they call it restorative justice. So if someone has done wrong to someone else in society, then he or she will have a restorative justice meeting. This is quite modern in the Westminster style New Zealand legal system, but actually it goes a long way back in Māori culture. So if you look in Thailand, again, going back to the late Majesty, the great King Bhumibol Adulyadej, the sense of equilibrium, the sense of moderation and peace has also been in practice. I think the two go very hand in hand. And actually, if I can just mention from a personal level, and by the way, this is probably the first time I've talked from a personal level in public. I prefer what we call a low profile. But I think it's important for the benefit of this session. I come from a very simple background in New Zealand. My parents came as student scholars from Malaysia, Malaysian Chinese. They went to New Zealand. There was some difficulty back in their home country, so they stayed in New Zealand in the 1960s. So I was very privileged to be born in a country that had social justice, equality. That's very important, the balance. Not a great difference between the have-nots or the have and the have-mores. So I think, to have that type of simple background and being an outsider, being a first-generation person, and now coming to Thailand, the one thing I will say is this: New Zealand is very welcoming. Thailand is even more so. So to that point, I genuinely mean it when I say that, I really believe in not just the country, Thailand, her people, the Kuntai, but also helping, right, the company. And I think those three benefits are really important. And that's something I've learned from my simple background in New Zealand, as well as the opportunity, the incredible opportunity that I have here in Thailand. Thank you. Kap.
Thank you. I think both of what you shared just now truly reflect a aspect of sufficiency economy philosophy, which is if you have things in access, then you share. And I think that's been reflected really clearly from your background and how you have was raised and how you grew up in your respective countries. So now let's move forward to where we are at now, currently, now that you two have been living here in Thailand for quite some time, have learned about sufficiency economy philosophy. I'm very curious to see, beyond the family life, how has SEP affect how you conduct yourself in your business?
I think when you start a business, and I am an entrepreneur, I started the company 30 years ago. It was important for me to live two worlds. It was important to bring some of the values that I had from Norway to Thailand, but it was also important to integrate and embrace the Thai values. Felicia Design is manufacturing jewelry, silver and gold jewelry, and presently we work for OEM service, so we work for brands around the world. And in our business, it's very important to our customers that we have high integrity. This is, I think, one of our most important values is that integrity and making sure that we take care of their I call the jewelry small babies. So we take care of all their children as they are made and as they are produced, and then when they come out in the world. Felicia Design is also quite engaged in transparent business practices. So I'm quite active in Thailand, and then the good work that is done among especially the private sector on transparent practices where corruption is not something we can accept. When I start the company, I have to admit I didn't have the values. I had them inside of me. I didn't have a business plan. Everything was inside of me. I was very happy. I started with one table, actually two tables. So one staff and two tables. And started what I call my life journey and chapters of that life journey. In the beginning, it was hard. We developed all our own designs. I come from a creative background. And sometimes I would have to choose if I should walk home or if I should eat. That was part of life. But that's part of entrepreneurship. You get resilient and you prepare yourself for tomorrow. Then in 2009, we had an amazing opportunity. We had a very large corporation who asked if we could manufacture for them. And then we went from being a small corporation to a very big corporation. Totally different way to work, totally different way of resilience. But through our values, and our resilience that we had built up over the year, and through our amazing staff, we built the business very quickly. So we went from, when we started working for this company, we did 15,000 pieces per month. When we worked at the highest, we did 15,000 pieces per day. And this was done with 36 amazing Thai staff. So investing in your team and investing in those around you is something that I can't undervalue enough. If we look at our values and culture, I think this follows a lot the sufficiency economy. My voice is going. Care for our environment, care for our team, our customers and our workers, our staff is the most important. That's the heart of the business. But that doesn't mean that you're not important. You also have to be there. So I think as you grow, your values will change. As you change in your business, you will also have change in how you embrace those values. So I'll show just a few examples on how we've done it. So what is very important when you work for OEM is to embrace the SDG goals. Our main customers are in Europe. Lately, it's ESG that we talk about. But all of those are related to the sufficiency economy. So I think for Thailand, it's not difficult to embrace these because all you have to do is to look at the SDG goals, how to, and then the sufficiency economy will show you the road, how to do it. As I said, our asset and our strength in our company is our team. I spend a lot of time on building the staff, not only building them on the technical side, but also how to take care of their families, how to embrace the ESG and the SDG goals, where it's not important, cannot be just the management who knows how to do this. It needs to be all the way through the organization. And I find this is areas that many companies still have a little bit of a road to do, and I think this is important to do. For 2 years ago, and I'm looking at Dr. Konkidiu sitting in the audience, through Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce, we decided to start building the future workforce. As investors in Thailand, we believe that we have a role to play, and as a company, I decided to also take this journey. So we have 8 workers, 8 students from Surin and also Bangkok who are working on taking their education through our company. And the teachers are my staff. And I think this is something that is extremely important. Finding a balance in life, I believe again, and this is very much also through Dr. Konkiti and his guidance through our Education and Skill Committee. Through our network, we want to give back to society. So we are focusing also now on agriculture. So I learned how to plant rice. We are working with teachers who shows us the way how to do this. We've been working with Kenton Upatom School since 2016. And those teachers are amazing. The last pictures that you see is from Sisaket, where we will be having a summer camp later this month. And the reason why we can do this is because of the teachers. The teacher, they have a network. They connect with the Mosam, Mohok, with the younger students, 15 to 18. And our objective is to show how to do a sustainable future, how to do sustainable business, but also how to choose the education that is right for you. So, on a little bit of a closing, I think it's very important that you need to learn to know yourself. What I do is not necessarily how Dr. Kopkan or Lester will work, or Mowan will work. But I think every road is important on this. So I have my path, and I have that path together with my staff, with my network, and with my family. And it's all related to the sufficiency economy philosophy of the late King Rama IX.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's such a great example of what our theme today is, which is adaptation. And thank you so much for sharing how you have, there we go, how you have combined and transformed yourself as you live and learn and absorb what is Thai. And seeing a picture of you with pakoma around your waist, I think you've fully implanted yourself in Thailand now. Now, on to you, Mr. Lester. Let's see what has been your experience in applying sufficiency economy philosophy on the business side of things.
Actually, in terms of the experience in this room with P. Kopkan, she has much more than me, so I'm just going to give what I know, and I can also acknowledge P. Nui, who's sitting right directly in front of me. I learned that in terms of our branding, P. Nui was behind our branding, just simple CP. So I think I like to acknowledge that. And even in the audience, I know I can see some good friends, some expats like Kun Kathy, who's been in Thailand for many more years than I have been. So I'm only giving my version, and it's only just a small part. So I hope it can give you some sense of how sufficiency and self-sufficiency is utilized within CP Foods and within the CP Group. Just for those who may not be familiar with CP Foods, you can see here we are branded as a sustainable kitchen of the world. So in terms of our operations, we are in 17 countries, and Kunwepeki just pointed that our booth is just on the right. But we feed about 4 billion people. Food security is important. So if you look at the United Nations Development Sustainable Goals, number 13, there is a responsibility for responsible production as well as responsible consumption. So this is important for us as a producer, whether it's feed, farm, or food. So those are the three things that we look at. We have about 135,000 employees. So I think in terms of, if I can show you the key point about our commitment in terms, if you look at the philosophy of sufficiency economy, we look at the three benefits principle, and this is enunciated by our senior chairman, Kun Tanin Jirawanon. And the first thing is we must be fully loyal servicing to the country that we are operating in. In this case, here it's Thailand. Secondly, it must be the benefit of the people. Only then we can have the third benefit, which is the company. If there's something that's very profitable but it's not beneficial, we will not do that. So I think that's important about sustainability, self-sufficiency. So I think if you look at self-sufficiency and sufficiency in itself, that is very applicable in a business context. If you look in terms of our operations, the reason we can be sustainable and profitable is we look at cost savings. So where can we cut costs? The second thing we look at is in terms of efficiency. So we look at technology and innovation, in this case AI. AI is going to be the defining point. For those who have been, I'll give you a story about AI, if I may, about sustainability. If you were to ever have had the opportunity of being in New York, you will see the iconic yellow cab. The iconic yellow cab, to drive that car, that cab, or even in London, it costs a lot of money. Back in 1947, the medallion, the permit to drive a yellow cab was $2,500 US. By 2014, that figure had reached $1.4 million US. By 2016, it was worth almost nothing. You know why? Uber, Lyft took over transportation. So my point is, even for 60 odd years, it seemed to be sustainable in terms of having that type of investment. But if you look at the longer term, it must be beneficial, not just one-off payment. So in terms of sufficiency for our company, we'll look at three things. I was asked about our sustainable sufficiency targets. We have a target for 2030, sustainability 2030. And one of the key pillars that we look at is the balance between nature and our business. So we must look at the climate change. UNSDG number 13 is absolutely important, right? We all know the figures. We also need to have the balance of food security, and then finally to improve the quality of the people. So I think if you look at sufficiency, we are very much inclusive in terms of our long-term strategy, not just for CP Foods, but for the group, and aligns with the country, right, with the government goals as well. Thailand is the 15th largest producer, exporter of food in the world. We're the 5th largest exporter of pet food, for example. So we have a global role to play, not just as a company, but as a country. So I think when I look at how sufficiency is applied to our company, I also look at the country or countries and the peoples that we operate in and with. Thank you, Kap.
Thank you.
Muwan, allow me to say a few words. I think we select the right speakers. Listening to Kun VBK, Kun Lester, I think I feel that it should give us the whole picture, regardless of size, regardless of where you are from. But then at the end of the day, yeah, we can grow with sustainability. And Lester, you said that crisis is norm. Change is always inevitable. And we need to, so even though we think that we don't have to relook at ourselves, but no, because things change. The world is changing. And now, in technology disruptions and whatnot, there might be a new disease coming or whatsoever. So I think this is the right venue and right time to talk about this again and again. Sufficiency economy is not old philosophy. It's timeless. It's norm. It's fact of life. No matter where you are, no matter size, nationalities you are from or you're going to, at the end of the day, the core is people. The core is balance. The core is sharing. The core is the problem of gap between the super rich and the very poor. And so therefore, who will tackle this if not us? And so therefore, I just want to reflect my feeling. And I think reflecting Chamber of Commerce also, why we still believe in this, why we still have this committee. It's not because we just have to do it. It's because we really believe in it. And whatever we want the future to be, the growth must be balance, sharing to all people. And that is what I just would like to reflect to you, Rebecca. Rebecca, you were in Kanchanaburi with us, sharing this theory, sharing our experience knowledge together with Nui, Dr. Nui also. The whole day, you're very busy, successful, a lot of work, and you live the life that you have told us. And Lester, I'm learning from you also. So I just want to say that I'm happy. And I hope that the people over here might get something out of this. Back to you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ I completely agree. I think both of your stories are absolutely beautiful, and a personal observation of mine is that every time the both of you talk about the application of sufficiency economy philosophy, people and the environment get mentioned passionately. And I think what I observed was the way you guys talk about those topics are beyond pride. It looks joyful. It seems like there's joy in speaking of those things. And I completely agree with Kun Gop Gan saying that when you hear the term philosophy, it seems like it might be something that could be very quickly become outdated. But there's something timeless about it. There's something very applicable and agile about it, very similar to who knows how old the Maori word that Lester shared about earlier. Something that is so conceptual, that's applicable throughout the ages, because it is this very philosophy that was somewhat of a response to the expectation that Thailand would be the next Asian tigers. And we were going to be forced to compete with how fast the world was moving. And instead, our king said, let's not. Let's pause. Let's do what we can and live how we could and be happy with what we have. And I would say, looking at us today, we did just fine in that. And I know that it is a concept that feels even challenging for me as a Thai person to study and learn about and apply from the business perspective. And I had the opportunity to study it for about a year. So I'm very curious now that we have a little bit more time in our session about if there were any challenges from the both of you in applying it to your daily life, in your work, what may be something to anticipate for others who are looking to adopt SEP into their life, into their business as well.
I believe as an SME there are many challenges, many, and they should not be underestimated. But I think we also, as an SME, we also need to not use it as an excuse. I believe that any entrepreneur and any SME with the right support, and I've had a lot of support from individuals, I've had a lot of support from medium-sized companies, bigger companies, the chambers. I've had that support because I've been open to learn. And I think this is one thing that is very important, is that we all are going through challenging times now. We have global unrest, we have tariffs, we have raw materials that skyrocket in my industry. We are going through times where it's very easy to say, oh, my way, I cannot do it. It's too difficult, it's not possible. And to be honest, a lot of it we can't do. I mean, ESG, when EU is saying that, okay, this have to happen within a certain time, so 2030, we have to complete all the goals within 2030. I believe we are all adjusting those goals. Who knew that COVID was coming? Nobody. COVID changed my life. I almost lost my husband. You know, there was touch and go, and during that time, I really had to step back and think. My mother got cancer 2 years after that. How do you leave a company and how do you then go back home? Well, you do that. So friends that I didn't know were friends almost. They would come home and they would feed the kids when we were in the hospitals. When I left for my mom, my staff was incredible. They took care of everything. I'm getting a little bit emotional, but the fact is that emotions are okay. You know, it's okay to be a little bit worried. It's okay to take a step back and then evaluate what is worth it in life. And to be honest, I spend a lot of time out of my company. I can do it because I have amazing, amazing staff. And I have a network around me. Sorry, I'm getting very emotional. Sorry for that.
We are human.
But the fact is that, back to your questions, step by step, you can do it. And step by step, remember that whatever you do in your business, you can't be good at everything. So look at yourself, get to know yourself. Where you have weakness, find the people who have that strength to help you. And then don't think that you're going to make $1 million by tomorrow. If you make $1 million by tomorrow, I'm sorry you're going to lose it the next day. You know, anything that you work for, celebrate every little win. I think that's really almost my last word here. But I have one last thing that is not related to this. I want to share an experience. In the booth of CP, you will see a polar bear. Now, why did you choose the polar bear? I don't know. But the fact is that I come from Norway, and Spitsbergen, Svalbard, is an island that is under Norway. At Svalbard, we have the World Bank of Seeds. And the World Bank of Seeds is that if something happened anywhere in the world, there is one little seed that is kept there, and we can restart it again. And Princess Galiana, she went there to learn from this. So I think let's use that little seed bank as an inspiration that I did not know what you were going to exhibit. When we sit on this stage together, you work for a huge company, a multi-million-dollar corporation. I have a modest, small company. I'm the M in the SME. So my job is to make sure that I help the future generation. I have a job to do. I have a responsibility to do. And I smile when I do it because it makes me very excited. Every little win. Yesterday when I was in Kanchanaburi, I was learning about the branding, and I was very frustrated because what is my real obstacle? I need to speak fluent Thai. I could not give my input the proper way because I don't speak fluent Thai. So believe in yourself, find your inner self, and then start the journey, but not the journey alone. You have a lot of people around you.
Thank you. That's beautifully said. ขอบคุณค่ะ We are, feel free to grab a tissue if you'd like to. They very kindly brought it over to us just now. We have about less than 10 minutes left to our session, and I know that both of you, actually, you say you're not fluent in Thai, but I've heard you speak in Thai, and it is quite very, very impressive, both of you actually. So we would like to provide this floor now for the both of you to leave some parting words for both all of our audience in Thai about sufficiency economy philosophy, about adaptation, or about anything that you think would be inspirational or useful for those who are listening.
ขอบคุณมากครับขออนุญาตผมพูดภาษาไทยไม่ชัดเจนเท่าไหร่ครับแต่ว่าผมคิดว่านะครับประสบการณ์ของผมนะครับของชีวิตผมคิดว่าถ้ามี challenge นะครับที่ชีวิตของไม่ใช่ของผมตัวเองนะครับของทุกคนครับทุกท่านน่าจะมี challenge นะครับแล้วก็ไม่ใช่คิด challenge อย่างเดียวครับผมคิดว่ามีโอกาสมีอะไรบ้างนะครับช่วงโควิดนะครับผมคิดว่าเดินทางไม่ได้นะครับทำงานที่บ้านผมคิดว่าผมอยู่ที่นิวซีแลนด์ผมคิดว่าชีวิตของครอบครัวมีอะไรบ้างครับผมคิดว่าไปที่เมืองไทยดีกว่าครับชีวิตของที่ประเทศไทยดีที่สุดครับ แล้วก็ 2021 ผมออกประเทศนิวซีแลนด์ครับกับครอบครัวนะครับแล้วก็อยู่ที่ประเทศไทยประจำผมคิดว่านี่สำคัญที่สุดถ้ามี challenge แล้วก็มีโอกาสด้วยนะครับไม่ใช่ challenge คิดมี challenge ตลอดครับช่วงนี้นะครับผมคิดว่าที่ประเทศไทยถ้าสมมติว่ามีนักเรียนที่นี่นะครับเขาจะจบแล้วก็คิดว่าจะทำงานอาชีพมีอะไรบ้างนะครับแต่ว่าอยากนิดหนึ่งใช่ไหมครับเขาที่บริษัทแล้วก็ไปต่างประเทศเรียนแล้วก็ทำงานผมคิดว่าไม่ต้องคิด challenge ตลอดครับคิดมีโอกาสมีอะไรครับแล้วก็ของไม่ใช่ของศาสนาผมเป็นศาสนาผมนะผมคิดว่าเป็นคริสต์ร่วมกับพุทธนะครับร่วมสองอย่างนะครับผมคิดว่าถ้าเป็น suffering นะครับแล้วก็มีความสุขใช่ไหมครับแล้วก็ของทุกท่านนะครับผมคิดว่าของ sustainability นะ sufficiency นะครับตัวเองนะครับคิดว่ามีบางครั้งชีวิตของตัวเองนะครับมี suffering เยอะนะครับแต่ว่า outcome จริงๆครับเป็นมีความสุขนะครับอันนี้สำคัญที่สุดแล้วก็ไม่ใช่ผมยักสั้นเล็บ1 เดือน 2 เดือนแล้วก็ผมเป็นระดับสูงไม่ใช่แบบนี้นะครับจริงๆนะครับช่วงโควิดนะครับเวลาผมไปต่างประเทศนะครับไปที่ประเทศไทยครับผมขายบ้านขายรถคิดว่าไม่ต้องของที่บ้านมีของเยอะมีนาฬิกาขายหมดเลยนะครับคิดว่าดีกว่าครับชีวิตเป็น moderation สำคัญที่สุดนะครับครับผมครับขอบคุณมากครับผม
Thank you
คนเลสเตอร์เป็นพูดทุกอย่างอยู่แล้วนะ จริงๆบริษัทเล็กบริษัทใหญ่ไม่ต้องห่วงอะไรเราเป็นเดินทางเดียวกันเราเป็นลงมือกันกับชีวิตคิดพอเพียงอยู่เราอยู่ได้นี่ขอบคุณมากค่ะที่ทุกคนมาที่ฟังวันนี้นะจริงๆตรงนี้เป็นมี emotion หน่อยวันนี้เป็นจริงๆที่ emotion เป็นดี emotion เป็นรู้จักหลายคนเป็นยากอยู่เซนอยู่นี่นะธุรกิจตัวเองนะเป็นธุรกิจเป็นทำเครปประดับอเมนีจริงๆตัวนี้เป็นหลายบริษัทเล็กครับใหญ่ไม่มีนานทองเป็นแพงเงินเป็นแพงUS dollar too strong จริงๆตัวนี้เป็นผู้ตรงชีวิตเป็นยากมากที่อยู่นี่ที่อุตสาหกรรมเครื่องประดับอเมนีคุณมีรู้จักเป็นหลายบริษัทใหญ่ด้วยนะมีคนออกทำนาน24 ปีเป็นลาออกอันนี้เป็นจริงๆเป็นยากหน่อยแต่เชื่อหนูเราเป็นลงมืออยู่เราเป็นเดินทางเดียวกันประเทศไทยกับชีวิตเราเป็นดีขอบคุณมากนะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ Beautifully said. Thank you both so much. Your Thai are amazing. It's a challenging language to learn, but seeing that you have lived here for so long and have adopted so much of our culture and philosophy, I'm not surprised that you're able to express yourself so fluently in such a challenging and foreign language. คุณน้องมีพูดอะไรปิดสักนิดไหมคะ
Just for you เขายังเชื่อมั่นประเทศไทยเขาเกิดจากประเทศอื่นแล้วเราคนไทยจะไม่เชื่อมั่นในประเทศของเราหรือคะเรามีปรัชญาของเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงที่ดีคอยเตือนสติเรายังสามารถก้าวข้ามปัญหาและวิกฤตต่อไปได้ถ้าเผื่อเขาเชื่อเราก็ควรจะเชื่อก็จะบอกว่าพี่น้องหอการค้าเชื่อมั่นในคนไทยเชื่อมั่นในประเทศไทยค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะก็เซสชั่นของเราวันนี้นะคะก็จบลงแล้วในตอนเช้านะคะมีเวลา3 นาทีเผื่อมีใครมีคำถาม มีไหมคะน้องนักศึกษาถามได้ ก็ถือว่าเป็นโอกาสที่ดีมากเลยนะคะไม่ได้ยินบ่อยที่ให้ได้รับเชิญคนต่างชาติที่รักเมืองไทยขนาดนี้หวังว่าเมืองไทยคนไทยหลายคนอาจจะไม่สามารถพูดถึงบ้านตัวเองได้ลึกซึ้งขนาดนี้เลยก็ต้องขอบคุณมากนะคะแล้วก็ขอบคุณที่ให้โอกาสพวกเราได้มาฟังนะคะ sharing เกี่ยวกับเรื่องศาสตร์พระราชา sufficiency economy philosophy แล้วก็การเอามันมาประยุกต์ใช้นะคะผ่านทั้งมุมมองของคนที่มี background ไม่เหมือนคนไทยนะคะซึ่งเป็นภาพที่สวยงามมากหวานคิดว่าไม่ใช่เรื่องง่ายคนไทยเองเอาปรัชญาเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงมาใช้ก็ไม่ใช่เรื่องง่ายนะคะได้เห็น perspective หรือว่ามุมมองจากคนต่างชาติแล้วก็เห็นการเอาปัญญาการเอาประวัติศาสตร์การเอาวัฒนธรรมของตัวเองเนี่ยมาปรับตัวมา adapt ให้เข้ากับเมืองไทยหวังคิดว่าเป็นสิ่งที่น่า amazing แล้วก็ดีใจที่สุดเลยที่ได้เจอคนสองคนที่รักเมืองไทยได้มากขนาดนี้นะคะวันนี้ก็ต้องขอบคุณทางสปีกเกอร์ทั้งสองท่านอีกครั้งนะคะ